What's up, people? It's your girl Karina, and welcome to this amazing talk on Pisces. I want to first check to make sure that the audio is working because I had a few problems during this Mercury retrograde. So just give me a second. If you're on the replay, check down below for the timestamps. Okay. Um, they usually come in about a day. All right. So let's make sure first we are being heard. Hello, hello, hello. What's up?
Hello, hello, hello.
Yeah. Okay. Hey everyone, it's your girl Karina. We are now going to begin the talk today where Pisces is in your chart. And if you haven't noticed, my house is a mess. Yes. And this is about looking at where we are completely transparent, right? And the power of belief is the idea of this title. And this comes with understanding that no matter the circumstances, where Pisces in your chart is where you can unlock the power of belief. Okay. And the reason that this is so difficult is because Pisces is on the axis opposite to Virgo, which is the manifestation of cleanliness and of results, right? It is an earth sign. So Virgo's going to have more of that results oriented idea. Virgo also is big on circumstances, really requiring things to be in a certain order for them to be so. Okay? And so in Pisces in your chart, you have to look at the fact that this is a different kind of magic. It's the truest magic. It's the magic before manifestation. It is the magic within the idea, within the secrets, within the ancestors, the that which is non-tangible, and that what makes Pisces and Virgo different. So they both are manifestations, right? But Pisces does it with the most organic magic, and it's the power of belief because it's within that area of our life is and within your chart, right, is where you can really tap into that energy. So no, you may not be born with a sun in Pisces or a moon in Pisces or something like that, but somewhere in your chart you have Pisces. For me, I have it in my sixth house. Okay, so where do you have Pisces in your chart? Comment down below. So, this idea of belief in self is a difficult thing to manifest because are often attached to the results. We're often attached to the way that things are right now, right? And we think that that is what is to be, which is also where we have difficulty in understanding this relationship to time, this relationship to the now. What has manifested is actually more related to the past. Actually, where Pisces is in your chart is also related to the past, but it also transcends time, in which, there isn't this tangible idea. Past, future is all present in this area. And so everything is connected in that idea. Everything is connected. So where Pisces is in your chart, you may also is connected to the 12th house. So it's kind of like you're undoing. It's the place where you look a little bit of a mess. And for me, it's in my sixth house, which is my day-to-day activities. So whatever that looks like for me, it's out of order. Even though the sixth house is, we'll talk about that in the course if you want to learn more about that. But this idea is really to get you to understand that in order to manifest like the Pisces in your chart wants to, you have to be able to ignore the circumstances. Okay. This is a scary road to take, especially for us who are very fearful of neglect. And we may have also have this relationship with neglect that, where you find ignoring happens. We don't want to like overlook something and it really becomes a problem, right? Which is something that you also find in Pisces is these, ways in which we can get too lost and get addicted to certain things. So it's a fine line to tread. It really is. Where Pisces is in your chart, you may also deal with like mental topics, consciousness, subconsciousness. You'll deal with things that are about your peace of mind or not, or lack thereof. Okay, so that's also the thing to understand. So that's why I wanted to really show the most organic side of me today and showing you that where Pisces is in my chart in the sixth house of having my day to day activities together, it's actually a big old hot mess, you know? And this allows you to understand that when it's time to look into your chart, which we're going to do, I'm going to show you how to ignore and have belief in yourself versus belief in your circumstances. Okay. But before we do that, let me just go ahead and share this video to Facebook. So, y'all stay tuned. Um, a couple of announcements. We have a new membership that is going to be legit live probably within the day. And it's based off of the spirituality and weight loss topic video. I will link the video down below and in this video if you'd like to watch it. And if you'd like to be a part of the membership where you will get daily videos from me on spirituality and weight loss, and you will also get a free pass to my weight loss course that I'm making on Udemy, which will have more details of exercises and things like that. Because as you guys know, I am on a weight loss journey too, but using it from the more metaphysical angles. Now, the other thing is that your girl has been making music on the side or mainstream, and so we've got a website up, iamkarina.com. If you guys want to sample some of my tunes, sometimes I post them here, but they're mainly on my other YouTube. But if you go to iamkarina.com, that's now up and it has my recent mixtape and more information about how I also combine metaphysics, mental health into my music. Okay, so I'm really excited to play some music for you guys while I go ahead and share this to Facebook. I'll be back after the bump. It really will be just a few seconds, okay? If you ever think I'm angry, love, just know that it was never you. They say time heals, even the heavens on baby, your mind still. They say love only grows stronger after trial. I don't wanna live my life so angry. Friends keep telling me you don't deserve me. I wish that we could change places. Patrick put on all the faces. The streets on the tracks stop racing. They say time heals. Don't go build a life without me, 'cause you're my still. Okay, y'all, that was the cover of Young Blues, Your Mind Still. That's the first track off of the mixtape. Really, really excited to have it out. It's free download if you just go to imkarina.com. Let's jump into where Pisces is in your chart is your ability to invest in your belief in your faith. Belief and faith is a non-tangible thing, which is a difficult thing to tap into for many of us because we are very Virgo related, which is that earthly energy of Virgo, right? Wanting to have the perfect circumstances in order for the perfect manifestation. So we highly value Virgo, but when we look at Pisces, you can look at your life, see the certain circumstances that are actually not you're not favorable with, and understanding that that's manifestation of the past, and that if you rely on faith of your vision and what you truly want, staying in that space within the center of you of what you really want to have in your life, and knowing that it's coming, and basking, almost being addicted to this power of belief that you can manifest on a very metaphysical magical scale. So I talked about that in the first half and I'll have timestamps for everyone, again, just letting you know. But let's go ahead and look at Pisces through the houses. And we're going to look at it from a natal point of view. I will be using its the rising signs also, but please keep in mind that your rising sign might not be equal to the house. So you just want to not get confused because I know I'm already confusing myself. Just knowing that you really need to just check your chart and look at what houses the zodiac sign of Pisces is covering in your chart. If you guys like the way that I do astrology and the simplistic way that I break it down, check out my course on Udemy. And I'm finishing the Venus part today. So I'm always adding more like mini lessons on there. Just talking about my way of reading astrology. Okay, so let's get into the houses. Let's break it down. Let me grab a chart here. And we don't even need. We're not going to do this by rising signs. We're just going to do this by house. We don't even need a chart. All right. So the first house, if you have Pisces in the first house, the power of belief in manifesting your perfect body. Okay. So we all want a perfect something, which is also coming in the axis of Pisces and Virgo. So let's add that to the blueprint of how we're walking through this. So in the first house, having Pisces in the first house, you might really want a certain style as well, a certain way of expressing yourself in a very fashionable and creative, poetic way through your body, right? And your personality and your first impression when you meet people. And so you might be focused on a lot of the details of maybe your health, making sure that you have the perfect health, the perfect way of eating. Sometimes you may actually go the opposite way and choose to be a complete mess because we're Pisces in your chart. You can also just be a complete mess. We all have it. So, because it's the letting go, it's the surrendering part of your chart. So, in the first house, you have to learn how to surrender and stay in the space of surrendering to the circumstances. This may mean that you might literally have like an obsession or issue with your clothes, that you can't get the type of clothes or type of look that you want. You might find that it might be something with your body that you feel like you need to have a certain way of looking or being in order to manifest, something that you want. But it's actually more about the power of belief, the power of not taking action, the power of just believing and having faith in yourself. Sometimes this is going to manifest in ways that is very organic to the Taurus in your chart, because Pisces and Taurus make a sextile together, and they do create either a level of stagnancy or a level of organic, authentic, beautiful, natural nature, to earth and water. It's the beach coming to the sand and, or eroding on the earth. So where Pisces and Taurus is in your chart, these might you might manifest this way and be more organic and truer to yourself. So when we're looking at the first house, that might really be just being more organic and true to how you actually look, not being so wrapped up in the perfection of the perfect look. This could also be another way that happens in the first house. So really, in any area, if we go through the chart, we can play more with the astrology. So basically, you can just walk away from this video now. If you know that Pisces is in you and you want to manifest things, you can tap more into this energy. You can work more with subliminals and meditation and subconscious things as well. And with Pisces in your chart, it can heal the Virgo parts of your chart, the parts that are more erratic. So if you have Pisces in the first house, you can heal the distaste and the disharmony that's happening in your relationships because you're holding on so hard to the manifestation of results. And Pisces energy is about, you know, I'm going to just take this person as they are. It's more about being more organic and natural when we're looking at water and earth. And sure, we do build on earth, like how you build buildings, but you also are taking away the forests and the habitats. So what happens is that Virgo and Pisces likes to be ever changing energy. So in your first house, Pisces, you might be ever changing in how you look or how you present yourself or how you fashion or how your personality is. It might be always changing as well. And sometimes we try to create constructions of buildings and change the whole habitat, whatever that means to you. So you might be trying to change the whole way that you are, you know, whatever that is for you. But what ends up happening is that you can kill off some of your forests. So you can kill off some of your roots, some of your more natural nature. You might lose yourself and really be lost in the who am I realm where Pisces is. So these are the things in understanding uh, these energies in a very bizarre way. Now, if you have Pisces in the second house, this is the the belief and power of belief of making money. And if you are already tapped into that, then you might already see the magic of money. You might really be the type of person that can teach people how to manifest money through, just energy, auras, and things like that. But if you're struggling and you have Pisces in the second house, there might be an issue with charity that you deal with, either not wanting to give or not wanting to receive charity. This might be something that happens here. And so the thing with this energy is about looking at the circumstances and being like, look, I'm broke, or and it's actually, it's you're believing in that, in which it's creating your future as well. If you looked at your money situation and realized that it was more of a manifestation of the past, and started to just believe that you can make more money, or that every time you spend money, money will come back to you. If you lived more in that space of surrendering to whatever is the manifestation, and just being more in the space of hopefulness, which is a scary word, I feel like, for a lot of people, even myself, and being knowing that money's always flowing towards you, then you might find that you start to manifest that magic just through the power of belief that money does flow towards you. Now, the other thing is that Pisces classic ruler is Jupiter, and Jupiter ruling over Sagittarius has a lot to do with rituals. So the other thing about this power of belief is that, this one time thing might be like, wow, like when you go, it might be a lottery. It might be like going to the casino and hitting the jackpot. But in order for it to be very consistent, you need to create some sort of ritual around this power of belief. Something that you do, something that works for you, that makes you lock into that energy that I believe. And you might have to test it or try different things and experiment with different things. So when it comes to money, so this is so rituals or superstition, any of these things are very like intermingled in this energy where Pisces in your chart. And in the second house, it could be like maybe you create your own money ritual and you believe in that money ritual. And it allows for you to tap into the power of your own belief rather than just focusing on the circumstance and being stuck there, which can happen here because it becomes very natural when you just abide by Pisces and surrender. So avoiding the stuckness is about really tapping into the hopefulness and becoming richer, more wealthy, more money attracting to you, or just better relationship to money. Okay. So, looking at the third house, this is about communication. It's about your ability to connect to people through your words, or just any form of communication, your hands, your actions, your movements. It is an area that is more, expressive, and it's about your self-expression in the third house. This is why we sometimes associate the third house, like people in the third house could be your friends, from the neighborhood, you know, um, even like being online and texting. These things can also be the third house. So, where Pisces is in your third house, you might be dealing with some bad comments, like bad remarks from people near to you, neighbors or friends, or comments online. You might be dealing with certain kinds of, manifestations of negativity, because the third house is the lower mind as well, where Gemini is. It's a natural Gemini energy. But having Pisces here, it takes that, evil eye and makes a whole world out of it. Basically, it makes a whole fantasy world out of it in the third house. So what you're doing here is creating these more harmonious worlds through hope and belief that someone is going to come and give you a compliment. Somebody is going to come and share with you some information that's positive. Somebody's going to come and bring you some exciting news that happens here in the third house. A friend will come and bring you an exciting news, or a neighbor says something or offers something. So the third house, any of these, role players that I've mentioned, any of these expressions of messages and communication, where Pisces is, you want to work more on how you're speaking about what you hope for. Okay, this whole talk has been about the power of belief. And I think that this section will, talking about the third house, it's important to look at the word belief, because in the word belief is the word lie. And so there is in the third house almost like this connection to lying, and how, okay, well, you can lie to protect yourself or whatever, but that, only could stagnate things, remember, because Pisces energy can create also stagnation. So, or, messiness as well. So when you're looking at the third house, speaking of messy, the third house, Pisces energy, you can have very messy mind, like things are just all over the place, or you can't focus. Okay. um so going back to belief and the word lie and speaking lies to yourself is kind of like a way in which you can lie to yourself consciously, but internally it's almost like, and subconsciously it's almost like you could create a ritual around these hopeful lies that you create in the third house, in the sense of you're speaking about what's to come versus what you have currently manifested. So if you've currently manifested like bickering or a fight, a verbal fight, cursing, or mean comments or insults by neighboring friends, neighbors, and people online, this might be third house activity. And with Pisces here, you could be able to see it and be able to speak and think and lie to yourself that, well, there are people who really do like me, who really are, on my side. I do belong to a community that would appreciate me, or feed me, or give me charity, and give me that compassion and love that I'm looking for in the third house. And so the third house, you may also be really looking for compassionate words, really speaking, inspiring words, hopeful, faithful, evoking a lot of emotion and inspiration words. And so, really being connected to what you want to receive, what message you want to receive, that will really help to manifest here. See, we really start to run into insecurity. Let's move into the fourth house, Pisces in the fourth house. We really start to run into insecurity. And so, this is why we have to have a relationship to our messiness that is healthy. We have to have a relationship to our flaws that is healthy, because if you don't, then you develop a very deep insecurity. Okay. Going back to the axis of Pisces and Virgo, the Virgo part of you manifests through, perfection. Okay. The Pisces part of you manifests through perfection too, but in a surrendering way, and letting go of the circumstances and letting go of the flaws, and almost seeing the flaws in the circumstances as perfection themselves as well. Lying to yourself and convincing to yourself that, you have a different belief about these things. It's a very bizarre thing, but this is why this topic also is very surrounded by mental health, and how powerful the feeling that you have towards the thought about having flaws is the problem when it comes to a lot of mental health issues. So when we go into the fourth house, we are looking deeply at your feelings. If you have Pisces in the fourth house, you might be manifesting really negative, toxic feelings, emotions that are that very deeply rooted clearly within your relationship to the family, your relationship to survival, and being connected to the house. Now if you're not having these manifestations, then maybe you have mastered your Virgo and Pisces energy, right? But if you're struggling, maybe you want to consider surrendering and being more connected to the power of belief, the power of belief that you will have a beautiful home to live in, whether it's a mansion or just a cute little tiny house, whatever it is for you that is customized to your emotional security. So you may be manifesting and tapping into your rituals of belief, of faith, of your home life. Okay. You might be tapping into your connection to your emotional body, how body stores trauma and stores memories. Here in the fourth house, it's where the origins of the emotions have been stored, the stories that are connected to the origins of those emotions. And these stories are in very well bizarre way passed down subconsciously through the family, through the DNA, through the heritage. And we find that here in the fourth house. So your belief, you might be a very big like person that is helping to heal your family. And you might also be somebody that helps to heal other people in the world, because Virgo must be somewhere in the top of your chart if you have Pisces in the fourth. So Virgo at the top, you're able to surrender to the circumstances of your career or the globe or the world, that your worldview. And now, when you surrender that, the entire axis of the IC and MC becomes stronger, making you a dynamic person in the world. This is definitely the axis of fame. Flip it over, it's also the axis of fame. If you do put it on the ascendant and the descendant, it's also an axis of fame. It, in the sense of, these people, these are memorable types of people. These people go down in history type of energy. Now, Pisces in the fifth house, this is your home of expression and self expression. It's your place of being comfortable in your entire style and swagger. It's about being seductive and like attractive because of your personality, style, and swagger. But it can also be a very messy place. Maybe you have absolutely no personality. Maybe you have a very tricky personality that people can't get. Maybe your personality is really messy, right? Because where Pisces is in your chart is also your undoing, so you may appear messy. And in the fifth house, you may be messy in romantic affairs. You might be messy in your gambling affairs. You might be messy with addictions. You might be messy with your closets and your clothes and your expressions as well. So if you're finding that to be the case, then you got to work on your power of belief of how people see you, of how you shine upon people. Because somewhere in in your shadows, you don't believe that people really like you, and you may exert an ego that is like the actual negative manifestation. It's a very interesting place, because it should be a place of hope and one of the natural places to be very hopeful. But you may have an experience shadows where you don't care, or you're not as interesting to people, or you have a fear of not being interesting to people, like your personality, your expression, your way that you put together things, the way that you interact with people, the way that you attract people with your style and your swag, you know because like I feel like when I talk about the fifth house, sometimes it sounds like I'm talking about the first house. The first house is like, they're very similar. The first house, though, is very specific to personality in clothes. The fifth house is the swag, right? So, like, you put the clothes on, but two people can wear the same outfit but exuberate a different attitude. So, your fifth house is like your attitude, right? Where your first house is like putting together the clothes, the personality, and the pieces to show your first impression. The fifth house is your swag, and you may not have one, or you may not believe in yours. You might feel like you're boring, or you might feel like you're just not very attractive with Pisces in the fifth house. So you might overcompensate here, might over like be over attached to how you show an attitude or be offended by other people's attitudes because you're dealing with your own power of belief and your own attitude. It's a very cool place because you can get away with being negative, being stuck and messy, and still be mad, cool, and fun to chill with. So it's really just about how happy you are because this fifth house is a place of joy. And if you're dealing with any sort of disbelief in your own joy or disbelief that people really like you, like truly, truly like you, then you have to surrender. You have to surrender to the power of belief and believing that you are a likable person. You're a good person. Even maybe just believing in your sunniness, like believing in your own happiness, believing that you really are happy, even if you have to fake it in order for it to manifest. What's up, everyone? I'm just now seeing your comments. Hello. Thank you for joining. Okay, so let's move into the sixth house. This is my placement. And so if you have in my lives, I try to be very open with the state of wherever I am because Pisces in the sixth house, you're gonna see me in my lifestyle exactly as it is in that moment. And yeah, for where Pisces is in my sixth house, it's quite messy. And so I wanted to talk about the power of belief in that, yeah, I would love to live in a fantasy lifestyle where I had a secretary and they like took care of my schedule and I could like have a house cleaner and do all of these like cool things. Um, Instead of having to be at home and being more organized. Even in my lives, like sometimes I write notes, sometimes I don't. That's Pisces in the sixth house. Needing to be organized, but maybe having to surrender to that. So, with Pisces in the sixth house, your relationship to the circumstances of your lifestyle, your daily schedule, and your health are things that you have to work through in a magical way. This is also why, another plug that I'm also doing spirituality and weight loss, right? Because I have Pisces spirituality in the sixth house, the house of health. So for me, this is the path towards my health is doing it the more metaphysical way. So you may be combining things like very much so, and looking at the more metaphysics behind certain things. In the sixth house, this is where you have to work on your power of belief in yourself and in your true health. So I make music where I talk about my body being beautiful, and even no matter what size it is, I talk about being more connected to my entire goddessness, right? Pisces is your ancestors and beyond that. I talk about being more connected to it, even if I feel like my life is a disaster. I'll talk about being more connected to it. As we spoke about belief and the power of belief, in your chart is where Pisces is the power of belief. But in the word belief is also the word lie. And sometimes you have to speak almost like these new lies to yourself. But we also have to get a better create a connection and relationship to the word lie and understanding that it's about speaking a new when we look at it from this angle, okay? Because I'm not going to say that lie is a good thing, but I'm saying that from this angle you're speaking, it feels like a lie because you're looking at your manifestation, Virgo, earth energy, and you're taking your Pisces hopefulness and speaking something more beautiful, right, from the manifestation of knowing what you want next. So it's a different type of manifesting. Where Virgo is, we manifest through putting it all together with our hands. Where Pisces is, we manifest it through the power of belief. Okay. And this is why we have a lot of, I have, and many of us have a lot of issues with our manifestations because if we don't believe that it's going to happen, then it probably won't. That's the other thing. Because the power of belief will open the doors to you for the actual physical, how it's going to get done to actually occur. Let me give you another example for the sixth house. My daily lifestyle is a work at home lifestyle. And so my relationship to cleaning is also something that is difficult, resistant. And lately, I've been creating this whole new level of relationship to cleaning for myself. Being that Pisces is in the sixth house and I'm naturally messy, owning the parts of me that are pretty messy But then now when I want to like go wash the dishes, I start to create different worlds in my head. Like I'll pretend that the dishes in the sink are the thoughts that are holding me down today. And through the washing of each dish, I feel like I'm cleaning out some of the thoughts that are keeping me stagnant. So in these, where Pisces is in your chart, you can work with mental health in very creative ways. You can work with fantasy worlds and creating worlds in very creative ways. So in the sixth house, it can manifest in this way. Or maybe your office area, like if you, because the sixth house is also where you work, your office area is you decor it to something that would be, pleasant to you to see. But the biggest thing here is more about the power of belief, in which you don't have to do anything to get started. You just have to know exactly what it is that you want. And what's great about the manifestation of flaws and the manifestation of things that you don't want is that you get to now know exactly what you do want. That is also the power of Pisces, to be able to see the mess, to say, this part of my life is messy. Now I know that I want something else. I don't know how I'm going to get it. I don't know when I'm going to get it, but I know that I want it. And now it's moving into a different, it's like the universe is now taking your order. So the manifestation of flaws, distaste, negativity are necessary because they help to give you the Pisces in your chart the power of manifesting it through belief, knowing that it's now coming to you. Now, in the seventh house, this is connected to your relationships. You may have issues with um, showing a really, really perfect version of you because Virgo is manifested in the first house and becoming something very, very different behind the scenes. And so the power of belief or disbelief in relationships also can happen here. The feeling or fear of being imprisoned or not sovereign in relationships because it's very contractual here in the seventh house. The feeling that you can't, that you don't want to follow the rules is very big in this placement. And so what really wants to happen here, whether you admit it or not, okay? Because now I'm feeling like I'm talking to a very specific energy. If you have Pisces in the seventh house, whether you realize it or not, you truly want to be in commitments that are compassionate and you have disbelief in that. So I think that what's happening here with Pisces in the seventh house is the ability to have hope and belief that no matter what types of relationships you've seen around you, you've seen in the past, you've seen on TV, you think you know about, that the truest relationship that you dream about could actually be possible for you. This is definitely a place where you're jaded because you don't feel like fairy tales are real. You feel like somebody lied to you. But really, you're the one who can create whatever type of fairy tale or happy ending you want within your relationships. With Pisces in the eighth house, this is the power of belief and being really connected to intimacy and trust. The power of belief in knowing that you are healed and you're healing. And if you're having struggle with this, you might find that you are extremely toxic. Like if Pisces is in the fourth house as well. In the eighth house, it's kind of a messy place for your psychology. It's a messy place for your psychological state and your mental health. And it becomes a place where you are challenged through your sexual nature, whether it's oversexed or undersexed, or you know what I'm saying? So here you might have these manifestations with Pisces here. And so you may be tapped into the feeling lost, that you can't truly enjoy sex the way that you want it. You can't really recreate yourself the way that you think that you can. That the people and how people see you is the only way that you'll ever be. Might be something like that. There might be certain secrets here because the eighth house is where we hold our secrets. That, it's like, well, this is my secret. I don't think that, I can't change a secret. I can't change something that was in the past that I know it happened and manifested. So this power of belief thing doesn't work. But it does work in the sense that you can look at the entire story of that secret and change the story. You could change the story behind it and around it, in order to manifest a better relationship to your sexual health, towards your ability to change and transform whatever it is that you want to transform. In the ninth house, the Pisces energy is highly optimistic, highly fantastical, high motivator, right? But if they're not and highly spiritual and connected to the gods, but if they're in a more space of disbelief, then they lost the power of belief and are manifesting things where they are crooked salesmen, crooked preachers, jaded religious bigots, things like that. So the thing here is I hate to say it, but atheists. The thing here is the loss of the connection to all types of belief sets. The complete feeling of being divided or outcasted from a belief set, or feeling like that certain culture is just very distasteful to you. And so the thing that we're missing is that feeling of that I'll never be belong to a culture. I'll never really feel like I belong to maybe my race, or I'll never really feel like I belong to a certain group of religious beliefs, because once people start coming together and believing something, that's when things get messy. So idolization comes in, and things like that. So Pisces in the ninth house is dealing with the power of the jaded beliefs. And you have already manifested very jaded beliefs about religion and cultures and things like that if you are struggling here. And so it's about creating that new world, that hope of a world where people of different beliefs can come together. It's about creating a world where how you view the world will be accepted, even if it's not like a majority, like that a lot of people won't agree with it. It's about believing that you are connected to something higher, and even if you can't figure out what it is, you know that it exists. This is probably a more healthier version of the power of belief with Pisces in the ninth house. Okay, so whenever somebody says that they don't have a zodiac sign in their chart, I just wanted to clear up that you absolutely do have every single zodiac sign in your chart. And I need to do a lecture on this in my Udemy course, because I also get this on Facebook. You have every single zodiac energy in your chart. You may not have planets there. You might not see it, it might not be intercepted, it might be hidden in the sense that it's very small depending what type of chart you're reading, but you always have every single zodiac sign in your chart. And all you have to do is look at the circular chart, look for the zodiac sign Pisces, and see what house Pisces is in. Okay, real quick comment on John 14:16's comment on astrology is Luciferian doctrine. This is so funny that he's talking about astrology as a religion and the doctrine and cults. And I just finished talking about Pisces in the ninth house. So we're really tapped in right now. But I know that some of you guys are on the live and you see this comment. Let me address it from my point of view, in the sense that this is a perfect example of somebody who feels divided from religion and feels divided from different ways of viewing the um, way that people believe things. Because in many ways, astrology, Luciferian is not a word that scares me. Luciferian doctrine, what is Luciferian? Break that word down, because he's absolutely right. Astrology is Luciferian because Lucy is connected to the planet Venus. And Venus is a planet that we use in astrology. And the mystery schools of Babylon are connected to the mystery schools of Egypt. Okay, everything is connected. The term Jesus is also connected to astrology. So in the where Pisces isn't in your chart, especially if it's in the ninth house, Pisces is uses a lot of compassion, but it also connects everything, right? So the power of belief, you believe by connecting everything, right? And again, it does feel like a lie, but the thing is that the word lie, your relationship to lie, is also what needs to be healed in understanding what lies are really for. Okay. Um, so in being able to create and cast spells on yourself and being able to rest. Where is in your chart, you need to rest. You need to relax because Pisces rules the 12th house of where we go down to sleep. And when we pass over into the other world, it seems as if we are laying, right? So where Pisces is in your chart, you rest, you relax. You don't concern yourself over as much of the details like Virgo requires on the other side with Mercury. You don't concern yourselves with how it gets done or with why it is what it is. You just rest on it and be in the space of belief, right? Now, Pisces in the 10th house, this is a place where you manifest your dream career. It's a place where you manifest your fantasy, reputation. You leave the world and you leave behind a legacy, and it's the very one that you wanted. But if you're struggling here, then your career might be a whole hot mess. If you're struggling with Pisces in the 10th house, you may be dealing with the power of disbelief in knowing that you can have the type of career that you want, or that the type of career that you want isn't legacy enough, right? Like maybe I'm just not doing big enough, or that people just don't really believe in the the purpose of my career or what I want to do in the world. So you have to work on your power of belief, belief in yourself, because whenever we're dealing with messiness in our life, there's some sort of disbelief, there's some sort of feeling of division, that's happening, especially where Pisces is in your chart, because Pisces is it's the connectedness of all things. And in the 10th house, you might be dividing yourself in so many ways because of your disbelief in what kind of career you can manifest. So stop dividing your stuff and start looking at all of the connections. Start looking at where everything that has been is for a reason. Start looking at the flaws and the messiness as a signal and a sign to more of telling you what you want to have, right? As a useful tool. In the 11th house, Pisces in the 11th house is where you have these beautiful circles of people, maybe from all walks of life. You're probably somebody who can really intermingle with people with different socio-political backgrounds, sexual identities, and be extremely comfortable and be very connected to everyone because of being able to see everyone for their humanity more than anything else. But if you have disbelief here, disbelief in your ability to make friends, disbelief in your ability to be influential to other influential types of people, then you might be very messy with your friendships right now or ever, where Pisces is in the 11th house. You might be really messy with your manifestation of the types of people you really want to hang around with, or just like their attitude or their personality. In the fifth house, I talked about how that's your attitude, right? Well, in the 11th house is the attitude of these higher people, these people of high prestige, of influence, of networks. Everybody belongs to like a culture in the ninth house. In the 11th house, they are all coming together and connecting with each other at a party, right? So we're all at the cultural party in the 11th house. And you might be going to the types of parties that either you aren't invited to, or that they say you can't come in, or you might be going to parties, of people that they ain't really shit. All right. And that means that your Pisces in 11th house is messy and in a space of disbelief. And so this gives you a chance to start working more with your powers of belief on the types of people that would really honor you, that would really follow you, that would really want to listen to your influence, that would really want to invite you to come. The true invitation is what you're looking for. The most compassionate invitation is what you're looking for in the 11th house. And you have to be in this ritual. Find that ritual that allows you to be able to believe in in that invitation that it's coming, not worrying about how it's coming or trying to force it to come, but resting and knowing that it's on its way, that the universe has taken your order. Okay. Now, in the final house of the 12th house, Pisces in the 12th house is the truest and utmost healing. It's the truest and utmost healer. Okay. And when this person is in their highest esteem, they are unstoppable. They see and understand their entire purpose from past, present, and what is to be beyond them. They are deeply connected to the ancestors, deeply connected to their kundalini and their relationship to the chakras and their relationship to the esoteric realms. They are highly favored people, and also this is a placement that where this person would go down in fame or be extremely memorable. This place is very messy if you also are dealing with very toxic emotions, similar to what I've said in the fourth and the eighth house. The 12th house, if you have Pisces in the 12th house, you're dealing with a deep power of disbelief in your purpose. You may be disconnected to your purpose or feel like God has smited you. You may feel like God has slapped you in the face in the 12th house, and you may try to slap God back in the face. The 12th house is very, very messy when it's not laced in its belief, because the 12th house is only existing off of belief. It only it only exists off of this thought, this hope, this idea of hope. So it is the highest spiritual place when it is in a space of belief. And it's going to behoove you that, remember when I said that I have Pisces in the sixth house and how I like to act and pretend to be that goddess, right? That goddess, that form or that figure of a goddess. Stay tuned, because I'm going to take it to another level in working on my power of belief in that goddesshood. But in the 12th house, it's really that you are believing that you truly are connected to God, so that you don't feel like you don't have a purpose. You don't feel like you don't have a stake in the world, right? When you truly believe that you're connected to God, or that you're God Himself moving through you in the 12th house, you can start to tap into a power of belief of being the Savior, the Christ consciousness, or a part of it. This is very scary to people, but it is the highest magic, because when you believe that you are God, then you know that everything is created from you. You know that everything around you is your creation. And when you are able to tap into that, baby, that kind of magic is worth watching. Okay. So it's really about being in that lie, that belief of yourself, that you are deeply connected to God, knowing that God has sent you here to do God's work. Okay. And then if you believe that you are God, then you already know. Okay. So that is my talk on the power of belief with Pisces through the houses. Yeah, I'll have timestamps soon, but if you guys knew, listened and listen to yours, you can drop some timestamps down for your girl, please. All right. And I will see you guys in the next live. Peace and love.